Thanks for joining us. We'll make a brief presentation to describe how Permatech and CGI Systems calculates potential savings for using the new PermaPlate transition plates from Permatech. First of all, what we'll do with this model is define the facility, then we'll define a specific casting system that we're going to look at, and then we establish what the unit costs are associated with that plant and that casting system, and then we discuss and define some of the specific time elements involved with turnarounds between casts. We then calculate the time and the savings, the part consumptions. We consider whether there is a casting constraint or a melting constraint, and we ultimately then calculate the potential annual cost savings for those scenarios. First, what we do in this model is we input the location and plant and identify the basic informations for this facility. It operates, it's casting 10 casts per day. It does it 250 days per year, and we can show whether it's constrained in casting, and if it is constrained by casting, then we show how much time delay there is. For instance, if a pit typically has a 5-minute, if the furnaces are ready and then there's a 5-minute wait because the pit crew are still doing their work, then that's lost productivity and a potential savings. We then also establish a value for the casting pit idle cost, which would relate to furnace hold time as well as just the facility costs. This is just a number that's adjustable for every scenario. We then establish the casting system. We'll put in a serial number 595. Let's say this is a 7-inch system. It's casting 6 by 8 strands. We'll put in 8 here. And we're casting 180 lengths. It's air casting, presently using N17 with boron nitride. We see the layout of our casting pit, and we then want to establish the cost. So they're currently using N17, as we noted before. Let's just say the price is $45, and typically get, let's say it's 250 casts per transition plate. Also, there's a cost for the supply of boron nitride. That's what's being used in this case. And let's say that's $3,500 a year for that casting pit. So we now have established this information, and then we establish what the actual cycle times are for the pit turnarounds. There's a tilting operation which is fixed in any plant. You have to pull the logs. Then this is a variable amount is the inspection of the molds, the cleaning of the molds, retightening of T-plates where needed, and then recoating T-plates or redressing them, and then prepare the cast and then set up for the next cast. All these together typically can add up to an hour. The bar chart you'll see on the following table basically is laid out to compare the traditional, or in this case, in this scenario, using N17 versus PermaPlate, and the difference in overall cycle times. That's what we're trying to calculate. So now that we've established that information, the model then, based on parameters that we've input, will calculate speeds, times. It will also take the values for the cycle times, and it will compare between the current, in this case, this was the N17 versus the LD70, and then it computes the potential turnaround time reduction. In this case, it's 20.3 minutes, which is reflected in this graphic, which shows the basic elements of only the turnaround that is variable, and that is the inspection, the cleaning of the mold, very small bar here for retightening of transition plates, and then necessary recoating. It's this savings in time that has the benefit of reducing labor costs, but also increasing productivity. In this scenario, we have a T-plate cost was put in identically, the same price, the same lives, just to neutralize that. We've reduced the coating supply, so from material and labor alone, we're saving $44,000. Because there was a constraint in casting, we established at 5 minutes. We apply the 5-minute savings per the number of casts per year times the pit idle rate of $500, and that adds up to another $104,000, or we have a savings of $148,000. And that's by the selection of the material, which is amplified in its high performance to make a better running casting system, even though the actual purchase parts would be the same. in this scenario. Thanks. You can see that we'll gladly run this report for you. We can do it very quickly, and it is intended to give a quick understanding and assistance in the financial justification consideration. Thanks again.